just when I thought we were done finding iMacs at the thrift store for a while. Never mind. Well, here's two more iMacs, and as you may have seen in the recent video, we cleaned up and restored that 2006, it's a late 2006 20-inch iMac. I love those polycarbonate iMacs. That was a very fun one to clean up, although it seems to have some type of graphics RAM problem. But I used it the other day, just sat down, put it here on the table, and used it casually as normal, browsing the web, and it worked absolutely fine. There wasn't any problems at all, so I'm not sure what's going on with it, but that worked out fine. So here we have two more 20-inch iMacs. These are the aluminum version, the non-unibody. So these are between 2007 and 2009 in their design. These are the early 2008 models. Now, being 20-inch, that's kind of a lower end spec usually, but these are the high-end 20-inch versions for 2008. And the specs for these are pretty much the same for a base model early 2009 version. So we'll go ahead and clean these two up. Now, why do I have two of them? Well, that's a good question. First of all, if I find Apple computers at the store, they're coming home. And there was some other computers there as well. They had some HP Elite Desk small form factor desktops for $10 a piece as well, in very good condition, but I decided to pass them up. I already have one of those over in the collection, and I love Apple computers, so here we are. But the real reason there's two is I went to the thrift store with my friends who were in town from Wisconsin, and well, being two, my one friend has been in need of a newer iMac for a while. Believe it or not, he's currently still using one of these, but a 17-inch version I sold him many years ago. And of course it has the lines on the screen problem, but he says it works occasionally for what he needs to do. But, you know, not a power user, but just needs to get on the web, do Word, Excel, things like that for work. Anyway, this is perfect. So it was a great opportunity. There's two of them, one of them for the collection and one of them for my friend. So one of these, haven't decided which one yet. They're both the exact same spec, believe it or not. We'll see how they clean up and restore, and we'll send one of them off back home when my parents come out to visit here in about a month or so, and he'll have a wonderful, decent iMac to use at his house. So I think he's excited for that as well. The only upgrade I had him get for the thing is a SSD. Obviously that's going to make a big difference in and of itself, but most of the other specs within these machines are already maxed out. So let's go ahead and look at one of them, since they're both the same specifications, and see what we find. Take a quick little look around. So the non-unibody aluminum iMacs from 2007 to 2009 had aluminum on the front here, as you can see, with a nice glass panel over the screen, which is wonderful, because one of the problems with the 2006 versions and all the versions before is that the LCD was right out there for it to get scratched up or anything. So here it ended up protecting it a bit more, excuse me, and well, surviving better, not getting scratches on it. And on the back here, we just have a plastic back. This is, of course, before they made the back aluminum. And the keyboard and mouse I already had. I had these on when we first got them just to make sure they worked. And so we'll turn on again. All plugged in. Let's see what we get. Very exciting. Okay, we have our screen, and it looks very nice, actually. I don't see any dead pixels or bad scratches or anything like that. It's very quiet. Just dirt and whatnot. Thankfully, a lot of this seems to be like it was in an office environment, because I mean, this is just pencil, and that'll come right off. And the same over here. There was some more of whatever this is. I'm sure somebody sneezed on it or something, but I got a little bit of that off too at the store, just to make sure that it wasn't, you know, permanently on there. Okay, so we have a spinning loading bar here. I don't remember, I know that these go up to, I believe, El Capitan, but I don't remember if El Capitan has the spinning bar or the sliding loading bar. So I wonder if that gives us any clues as to what exactly this is running. I do know when I turned both of these on earlier, when we just got them from the thrift store, they appeared to both be running two different versions of Mac OS. So this one Looks like it's booting into some type of recovery. Well, it wants a keyboard. Well, that's interesting. Is this not plugged in? No, it's not. I probably unplugged it because it was sitting back there and I didn't want people to hit the cord and pull it out and then, you know, ruin the machine. So now that we have a mouse and keyboard, let's see. Well, that looks like Mountain Lion, judging by the image there. So let's just go to disk utility and let's see here. So we have a 320 gigabyte hard drive, and I don't know if it's erased or what, but I'm not going to look too deep into it because we're just going to, you know, put an SSD in here and be done. But the screen itself looks very nice, no doubt about that. So let's, what does info do? Well, that gives us info on the drive. Okay, anyway, we're gonna leave this up and we're gonna bring this one up as well. So we got the other one up here, also very exciting. Let's see what we get. I moved the keyboard over this time. I remembered to do that at least. So, of course, we have the bong, so that's positive. We have a gray screen. It's a little dim compared to this one, but it could just be the brightness setting for all I know. Okay, we have the spinning loading bar here again. Again, this one's in the same very nice shape. Doesn't have the pencil marks on it, but that's going to clean up just fine. There's no nicks or anything on the outer exterior of these enclosures here. Nothing. It's in really good shape. Totally from an office environment. And what also makes me think they're from an office environment is what this is going to boot into. Because as this one booted into recovery, I think this one's going to boot up to some type of a desktop in regards to, yes, logging into a network. So, I mean, there's something here. And very interesting. I'm not sure if that's a background that looks terrible like that or if it's a screen. See how there's like a line here? Like kind of shadowy going on? It didn't look like that when we were booting up. But anyway, so obviously it's not connected to whatever network this thing came from. So what we're gonna do is restart, and I'm gonna hold down the option button once we get the bong again, and we'll get to the recovery mode and see what we find. And we'll hold down option, and we should get a list of bootable drives here. Sure enough. Okay, so this is running 10.9.5. So is that Mavericks? So one step above this, because 10.7 was Lion, so 10.8 was Mountain Lion, so 10.9 Mavericks. So here's our first one and our second one, exact same hard drive size and everything. Of course, you can see the two different backgrounds from Mountain Lion to Mavericks. So what we're going to do now, we know that they're functional. We need to figure out how in the world to change out these hard drives, and I'm sure it involves taking the screen out. Just bringing up a white terminal screen here. The only difference I see is this is a little dimmer and warmer, and this is a little brighter and bluer, but I'm sure that just has to do with the settings that are in the machines. If we clear the PRAM or whatever, we'd probably get a different result. But we can do that while we're restoring and doing everything else. I was just curious to see maybe if there's anything with either of the screens, but they both look fine. Okay, so on the bottom, unlike the polycarbonate ones, there's no screws other than the one screw here for the RAM. So we'll go ahead and take that out. Judging by the logo on the RAM in here, as you can see, it has like an E on it. It's definitely not the original 2 gigs that came from the factory. With the RAM door off, I believe we can just leave the RAM in there for now because we need to take the screen off. I don't know why the guide asks you to do this first. Of course, we're using the wonderful iFixit tools and guides online. They're wonderful. And so go check that out, the iFixit guide for this machine, if you want more information about what in the world's going on here. But the first thing they say is take that door off. Next is take the screen off. So we need some suction cups. I literally got these at Harbor Freight. They're nothing special. So we're going to put one on either corner here, and we're going to pull directly up because there's magnets holding on the screen here. Very similar to all the other versions that came after this. So let's see if we can do this without breaking it. I have never opened one of these before. I've opened the models that came after it though. Oh, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. That didn't need much force at all to come off. Of course, one of the problems with having this glass cover on the screen is that you get a lot of dirt and dust in there over time. So obviously you want to, clean this when putting it back together. But it doesn't look like there's too much dust underneath there. I mean, there's some. I could see specks every once in a while, but yeah, not too bad. Now we just need to get out all of these Torx screws all the way around. Boy, you could really tell those are screwed directly into plastic. They definitely had some grip there. Okay, I'm sure this comes up now somehow, and I'm not really sure how, so let's find out. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure still how to get this off. They say to put your hands up here and kind of pull away, but I'm not going to put any pressure onto that screen, and the screen's the only thing you can really put pressure on. Okay, well, if you kind of hold from the back here, it certainly feels like the magnets are also working against you. So, let me see here. Ooh, yeah, I don't like this. Definitely working against you because you don't want to, I don't know, I just don't feel like I should put any pressure on the screen. But if you push on the black part on the edge, that's not necessarily the screen. So, let's see what we get here. Yeah, these magnets are really good at their job. Can you please come away without too much worry? Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay. So the magnets were really holding this thing on, and we're going to find a little plug up here at the top that we will need to detach. And that'll be this one right here. So be prepared, it's probably going to want to fall all the way off, but we need to detach this cable. Just some gentle persuasion, pulling it apart there. And we need to pull this out all the way out down here because we have these studs sticking out, and it should kind of just fall right down and off there. There's the inside. Definitely some writing and stamping from the factory. First impressions, it's dusty but not caked in dust, so that's good. Definitely a somewhat cleaner environment it lived in. Not too bad. So of course, most of the components we need to get to are behind the screen here. So we need to take out these screws on the sides of the screen to get behind it, and I'm sure there'll be some cables along the way. Like, I think this one's the video. We'll need to take that out as well. Okay, so we got the outer screws off. Now we need to do these very tiny ones here. We also have, I believe it's this cable right here. It's some type of temperature sensor for the LCD. And we're just going to try lightly pulling up on it. And that's not the recommended thing to do because you could pull the pins out, but it doesn't seem to really be held in there with any substantial clip. Okay, so now that we got that done, let's take another look at what we need. So now we should be able to pull up on the display here. And it's definitely been in here a minute. It doesn't want to give. Hello? What's going on over here? There we go. Something's stuck somewhere. Sticky tape. Okay. Now there should be some cables underneath here, and I think this is stuck in between the fan. Yeah, it is. Of course. How do we get that out? Okay, there we go. So now we should be able to lift this up enough and find some cables right here that are for the lights. So if we pinch that, we'll be able to unplug them. Boy, let's see here. So that one has a dot on it. They both have dots. Well, that's not really helpful. I'm just trying to determine, one's pink, one's blue. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. If it's wrong, I guess we'll flip it around. Okay, we have two at the other end here. Same deal. And there, so now we have, the panel should be free. It's always amazing to me how light these things are once you get that display out. That display is so heavy on these, it's crazy. But as you can see, we have our hard drive right here, our power supply, so we're going to want to stay away from that. Our very big blower here to blow through the heat sink and the power supply, our super drive, another fan here for that. And of course our main motherboard. I believe this is our graphics card right here. And naturally our speakers and all that kind of good stuff. So let's go ahead and take our hard drive out. And it looks like it's literally just clipped in here. So if we pull down on this, yep, it just comes right out. Okay, well we're not going to pull it up too high because we have some wires here that are going places. And I'm sure we need to get this tape off. There we go. And I'm sure there's some type of sensor underneath this as well. So we're going to have to be careful with that because it's a temperature sensor for the drive. And we don't necessarily want to ruin that or else the fans will go at full blast all the time, which is no good. Now these are some very thin wires. Boy, I'm trying to figure out the best way to get this foam off of here, and it's really stuck on there too. I don't know, I guess it's just coming. Here it is. I'm just gonna pull on it because I don't really care about the foam. Okay, well it came off okay. There's our temperature sensor, more close up. And it literally looks like it's just clipped in there. So I think what we're gonna do is try to lift up on this clip and pull it directly out. Oh, it could be unstuck easily too. Yep, it's the tape has given way over time. But yeah, it's just a little clip holder. We'll just set that aside. And there's our little temperature sensor. So we'll need to at least secure that somewhere so it's not just everywhere. And yeah, we just push down on this, it unclips. We should be able to just pull it right up. Yep. And now we have our SATA and power. Hitachi, May of 2008, 320 gigs. With the drive removed, it's now the perfect time to clean out the insides here. So let me get the air compressor up and going, and we will blow out all the dust that we possibly can to give it a nice clean refresh. All cleaned out with the air compressor, looking a lot better. Definitely a lot blew out through here, made a nice big dust cloud. But yeah, everything's cleaned out. Blew out the fan in the back there too, because there's an intake in the back. And I think we're all good to try an SSD in here. Here's my SSD of choice for this project. I didn't have any sitting around, so I had my friend get one of these Crucials. I got one too for the other one, just so that they're both the same. I'm gonna give them whatever one is nicer in the end. So then they both have the same drive in there. I really like Crucial products, so we're gonna go ahead and put that in here. So we'll go ahead and plug that in here. Now, as you can tell, I have the world's best adapter for this so that it sits in here as perfect as absolutely possible by using nothing at all, because I really don't have an appropriate adapter for this, and this thing is super light, so we're just going to let it be. Of course, we're going to take our little temperature thing here and we'll try to get that stuck on here somehow. We don't really have a lot of goop left on the back of this, so I'll have to find some more goop to get this stuck on there. You can fix any problem with some zip ties. I mean, these things weigh like a feather, so they're not gonna, it's not heavy. We just need it to stay in place so these cables don't come off, and I think we're good. So we need to mount the little temperature sensor holder here, and of course you need some new sticky tape or something for that, but I don't really have anything too good for that I, wouldn't worry about falling off with heat or something. So instead, let's make a hole and just screw it right to the SSD here. And there's our very elegantly mounted SSD. Now, we just do everything in reverse. probably going to be hard because I left this plastic on it, but we'll give it a try. Okay, so let's rest that back in its home there. We got the bottom on. You make sure the bottom's on. And we'll start getting the sides pushed on here. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, and one of them is done. At least, you know, we got the internal drives and all that kind of stuff going on. So now the next thing is we'll start installing operating system on this. And of course, we'll start on number 2. I have so many random old hard drives laying around. I end up using them for installers like this because I find that this is quicker than putting them on a jump drive. The speeds are just faster, and I mean, they're just laying around, so I go get jump drives when I can just use an old hard drive like this. So this one has El Capitan on it, and we'll go ahead and put that in our little toaster here. And we need to plug all that in, and we'll turn it on. So we'll turn on our disk here, so that's up and running so it can find an operating system. And while this boots up, I'm going to reset the PRAM just to, you know, reset whatever settings are there. Notice the volume difference? Definitely reset some stuff there. So that's good to do. And now hopefully we'll have our installer here in a second. Looks like it's all working. We got something happening. So of course, while this is all going on, we'll start taking this one apart. Had a phone call, but this is up and going. So let's see. First of all, we need to do the SSD here. So let's go ahead and find that. And we will erase, and we'll name it, even though it's not a hard drive, we'll keep it traditional. And there we go. That all looks fine. So we'll hit erase. Looks like we're all good. So now we will go ahead and close out of that. And one thing we'll need to do, because this is an older installer, is we'll need to go to the terminal here. Let's bring that down to the middle. And we need to set the date. So I have a little sticky note here to remind me how in the world to do this. So date and a space, and then we'll do a month. We'll just do December, and a day, 28th, why not? And then an hour and a minute, and then a year. So this came out in 2015. So we'll just put 15 there, and we'll hit enter. And there's our date. Now that's important because sometimes you'll get errors if you don't set the date back with this installer. So let's quit terminal, and we'll hit continue and agree to all this baloney. And we'll install it on the Macintosh hard disk and hit continue. And now we're off. So we'll work on the other one. Well, that didn't take too long. Of course, you saw it all sped up. But anyway, went perfectly fine. What in the world is this? Oh, it's like a tag or something. Anyway, let's take a look over here. This looks to be moving right along. Hasn't thrown any errors yet, so that's positive. And now that we got the drives out here, they're both the exact same date on them, May 2008. So I'm sure these are bought pretty close to the same time for the business. But we're going to take this out and give it a spray. That's positive. We got some restarting going on here. Looks like we're successful. And finally, we can get a look at about this Mac. We'll shut this down for now and continue on with our other machine. Again, we got it all cleaned out. Looks very nice. And as you've probably seen in that little clip, yes, it was very dirty and big puffs of dirt were coming out everywhere. So now we will install our very elegant SSD again. Looking good, and it didn't cost $20 like an adapter would. Now we'll get the bottom scooped in and lined up. And we'll lean it in. We want to make sure this wire's through here because that kind of helps us. Make sure it's not caught. And we'll slowly put it in and the magnets will hold it there for us. Now we can put this back in. And we know it didn't get squished. Same as we did before. I'll turn this on. Okay, that's up. Let's reset the PRAM. Very nice. And we'll wait for it to come up. Setup and everything worked fine here too. So we're installing. The other one's sitting there waiting, and we'll start installing software on both of them in a bit. But got everything cleaned up, at least for the moment. So we'll wait for this. And here's number 2, all ready to go. Let's take a look at it. There we go. So now the 2 of these just need to get cleaned up, software installed, and we'll go from there. So that's what we'll do next. It's a new day. Yesterday got all the software installed, the operating system up to date as far as we can go with it anyway. And now it's time to give them a nice clean. I used to do the cleaning, it really depends for me if I do it first or last. I usually want to make sure that the thing is functional first. Obviously they were, so it didn't matter to me when it got cleaned, but we'll do it here at the end because I mean we had to take it apart and who knows, we may have scratched something up while doing it. But anyway, we need to take off these stickers obviously, clean up the backs of them, and I tend to use some rubbing alcohol and some other stuff, so we'll start cleaning these up. Now, I don't really recommend using these magic erasers. This is a fake one, third party, whatever. Anyway, on all types of surfaces because it does scratch. It is abrasive, so it is slightly abrasive and it will ruin finishes. So you have to be careful what you do use it on. And this back is already not that good, so I mean, if we can get rid of the color but leave it a little bit like that, I think that's better than it was. Well, that one definitely cleaned up well. I thought this one would clean up better than the other one. So, and they both, when I compared the screens, This one's a little warmer. That one's a very cool color temperature, and I felt like this one had better color to it. The colors looked better than on that one. I'm not sure what the difference is. You know, we reset the PRAM, and you know, they're still that way. So it must just be the style of panel or how many hours are on it, if I can pronounce my words. But this was the one that I set up for my friend. I think it will clean up the best. Indeed it did. Of course there's some dust and stuff on the glass, but I'll wipe that one more time before it gets sent back to him. But yeah, this one turned out great. The other one, on the other hand, the one that I'm deciding to keep, definitely needs a little bit more help. We have, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a decent amount of scratches here on the back. There's a big one up here. And on the front, we have some different marker and, well, that's pencil and other things going on too. The other thing I noticed with this one, not only the screen being a slightly different shade, is that up here on the screen itself, not in between the glass and the screen, but the screen itself has some, like, I don't know, I call it like, it's like dimpling or something, like where the back reflector has gotten, you know, it's not flat anymore, so it's reflecting light a little differently, so it kind of looks like there's something there, but there's not. And that's not that annoying, but I mean, every single one of these I found have something wrong with the screen, so I'd rather give my friend the one that has a better screen on it than this thing. Okay, so of course we have the pencil. There's some stuff here and there, so let's see what we can clean up with this one. Not too bad. Now, I'm still very curious as to what to do with that. Let me try some other things. And there they are, all cleaned up. I wasn't able to get the little blemish here on the front of this one gone, but that's the one I'm keeping, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's take a look around the back here. It's a little dark, so you can't really, you know, see. But that one definitely has some more blemishes. There's a little one right there, but that's not too bad. Overall, they cleaned up very nicely, and they function very well in terms of, you know, quiet. I was able to play YouTube videos on them absolutely fine. It was not maxing out the CPU. I think that really helps having the upgraded internals in these. For the 2008, it has the 256 megabyte Radeon HD Pro something or another graphics compared to the standard 128 megabyte graphics. So I think having that double for something as old as this definitely helps it out for sure. So let's plug them in and watch them turn on. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. They both have the exact same configuration with the exact same applications and operating system. So I'd expect them both to perform exactly the same. Yeah, pretty much. I just have a different selection of apps down here for my friend to use, the ones that I think he'll use the most often. Usually on these, when I just set them up, I put some internet browsers down there and traditional, you know, word processing type stuff. You know, all that basic goodness. So let's see here. Yeah, we got them both working. I'm really happy with that. I'm trying to think of anything else we can do with them. Plug the keyboard and mouse in, because of course it's going to be searching for one. And let's just give a little demonstration of, we'll use YouTube right here on Safari. I've noticed YouTube's doing this a lot lately on new machines that don't have like a cache built up of what you like looking at, or cookies or whatever. So, oop, I can't even type my own stuff. Let's watch a video here. And I'll probably have to cut out whatever ad is in it. Hello everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at these Sylvania 7.5 watt. And I mean, that's working just fine. 11 no problems. Utility lights. You can call them night light bulbs too. Now these are my absolute favorite when it comes to miniature. And it does full screen just fine. I just love the look of this. Look at how big the base is compared to the wall. 1080p, okay. They're just so and it's cool. Loading it fine. We loaded up to about here. Here says that they were 29 cents a piece. So let me just mute that so you don't have to hear me twice, because that's terrible. And yeah, it goes back just fine. If we go to utilities here and take a look at system monitor, we'll have a little graph of the CPU here. And we're just watching YouTube. The memory pressure is very low. It looks like we're using pretty much all the 4 gigs that it has. I'm sure some of it is virtual. But, you know, let's go over to this one. We have 2 samples here. We'll use Safari on this one as well. I noticed Safari on these older ones. I believe this is a, let's take a look here. This is from 2018. It's Safari 11. Some of the websites, like if you go to Wikipedia, like we got it right here, it gives you this connection is not private thing. Of course, you can go to it. You have to hit show details and then hit visit this website, and then you have to put in your password and whatnot for the credentials of the computer. But I'm not sure what the deal is there. Of course, you can access it just fine on Firefox or Chrome. Both of those are not up to date on these machines anymore, but they do function absolutely fine, as you can see here with Safari. So let's go back here again, and boy, this mouse is terrible. That's why I don't use it. It sits in a drawer. Well, anyway, looks like it's all playlists for some reason, and they're very big. And we'll unmute it now. This nice old Sylvania 100-watt soft pink 819 incandescent. And again, you know, no issues. Let's see. This one, same exact setup. We're doing 1080p again. The etch is in decent condition. And I'm sure we're going to have the same results. If we go in here, 25 volt, standard A19 shape. You can see the soft pink coating. And yeah, I mean, it's you know, a decent load, but it's not enough to cause it to, you know, chug and not be able to do anything else. You know, like, you could probably have some other tabs open too if you come over here and you know, go to another website. You know, we're just scrolling through and whatnot, and you know, we're doing just fine. Now, as you can see, the CPU knows that we're not watching that video in the background, which is still playing. And I just love. And you can hear it, but it knows that it's not, you know, rendering or whatever in the background. So as you can see, the CPU has dropped down. So I mean, you could do multiple things at once on here. Of course, if we go back to the video, it's going to be processing that heavier again. So we'll see the CPU usage come back up. I don't remember when they added that functionality of you have a video in the background, it'll stop doing it, or if that was always a thing in macOS, but I want to say that was a feature they added at some point, where if the video's in the background, It's not necessarily doing anything with it because you're not looking at it anyway. Although, I could be totally wrong. I don't remember, to be honest. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, we got some different tabs up here, and everything's working just fine. We can scroll through this without issue. There's no delay going through a simple website page here. But, you know, like I said, you can't get Wikipedia to show up on, you know, not Firefox, but Safari. But again, if you use Firefox or Chrome, and it's not just Wikipedia, there's other websites that says that too, it just won't visit it for security reasons. I don't know, must just be something that this 2018 version of Safari just doesn't understand. Interestingly enough, that one seems to have a lot higher CPU usage while watching a video, and this one does not. What is going on here? This one's less. Let's get it, you know, big again, see if we can reach it up just as high. And obviously you can see here on this one we stopped, so it's not doing anything anymore. When we skip ahead, yeah, and it loads that just fine. If we skip to a part that isn't loaded in memory yet. Okay, that's fine. So let's see. Okay, yeah, that definitely picked it up some, being larger. So yeah, YouTube still works absolutely fine on these computers, thankfully. Let's see here, memory on this one. Same type of story, looks like we're using almost 3 or 4 gigs, and the pressure is down here, so we're not too bad. So still a very usable computer, especially once you get that SSD in there. And I'm not entirely sure if you can do 8 on these. I think you can do like something higher than 4, but 4 gigs is what is officially supported on these. So that's what's in them. But yeah, a very fun project. Very happy to have found these, and to help my friend get one as well, so that he has a more usable machine than the 2006 17-inch white polycarbonate iMac. So that's really all there is to share, I suppose. Thank you so much for watching this vlog here, cleaning up these computers. And yeah, off this one will go to my friend, and I'm sure this will just end up in a closet or something. But other than that, hope you enjoyed this video, and also please comment, rate, share, and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.